Hello, and welcome to a quite a sunny Tuesday morning, at least where I am.
Yeah, no, it's right where I am as well. But so
Ah,
that's fine. I think
it's,
we've got rain coming there.
yeah, I mean, I would say there's a storm on the horizon, but things actually feel quite bullish. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm feeling, or whether the fact that I'm sitting on some bags that have gone up quite significantly overnight, whether or not that's tending to my bullishness.
Yeah, I
um,
think it's got to happen at some point, right?
yeah,
And every day that ticks past, and I know it's painful for a lot of people, no more so than me. It's just dragging on, isn't it? The whole process. But I hopefully not long, mate. Hopefully,
yeah.
famous last words. It's just, yeah, everything seems hinging on the rate cuts, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, there's some stuff that's starting to send. It feels very alt season esque. Like obviously, I think WorldCoin is one that I think we've been accumulating for quite a while. That's up. I think I looked, and that's up over 100% this week.
Yeah,
Um, what else is there? Cato, that's done 40% today. Um,
I've not looked. Let's have a look.
that MYX, did you see that one? I was chatting to Dave about that. That one's annoying him because he looked at it at $1 and it's $18 today.
Yeah, WorldCoin's just flying, isn't it?
Yeah, the other one was MYX or MXY. I think it's MYX.
Yeah,
That's that's done a. I'm pretty sure that's done a 10x in 2 days. I don't know. I don't know who has any of that, but that's
but is any of this like?
ridiculous.
Is there been any news on WorldCoin, or is it just
Um,
accumulating pump?
I think there was some news, but I think it's just a right. Let's leave the station type of thing.
Yeah,
Because there's a few others that were doing the same. Like it feels like so AFA is another one that I know is up quite big today. That MYX is just obscene. Like,
yeah. I've got. It's not say. I think it's just with everything's hinging, rate cuts, whether that's going to do it. The thing is, I done some interesting TA yesterday on looking at the correlation to what happens with rate cuts and the S&P. So that's quite interesting. So as soon as rate cuts start, basically that's the end of the cycle. Not just crypto, but just
that's when the music starts to stop.
Yes. So we are at a stage where the music's going to stop pretty badly, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
I hope so, anyway. Is it MYX Finance you're talking about?
Yeah, I think it's like a Chinese hyperliquid, someone told me. Although I'm fairly sure that that is not a natural chart pattern. I don't think you need to be a TA wizard to know.
280% in a day. Seems about right, doesn't it?
What's that? 27x in a month.
Jesus Christ. Do you know what? Just one of mine do that. That'd be nice.
Do you know what the worst bit is? This is on perps as well. You can get
MYX. Yeah, 7 days. It's done 1,500%. WorldCoin's done 125%.
Yeah, I had some stuff drawn out for WorldCoin that's played out quite biblically.
Yeah.
I had this liquidity zone that it would move through quite quickly, and this fair value gap, and it appears it just did not want to stop.
Where are we? Yeah. The thing is, we're just heavily accumulating above the on the total chart above the November high. So I assume that means we should at some point have a nice little pump. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not wholly convinced yet of what's going to happen, but it feels like it's getting closer. I don't know whether that's just blind hope or something, because it's just
Well, this feels quite positive. Like others is starting to sort of break out a little bit.
The thing is, so I've stopped looking at anything other than the main total chart, and the reason why is that there's so many projects every single day. Still, I'm getting like, you'll get a notification on MXC or Bybit or something. Oh, new listing. And you go, it's just the ongoing mess that is the crypto market. So yeah, it's curling around. It looks like it's going to pump, but I'm not. So anytime we've had rate cut, the last rate cut cycles from the TA I've done. So when we had a decent rate cut cycle in 2008, the S&P saw a 58% drawdown.
Yeah, there's some stuff that is very, very toppy. Like
COVID, 36% drawdown. Even when we had the drawdown earlier in the year, 21.5%. That was after having some rate cuts in the back end of last year. So make of that what you will.
This one. Yeah, so we've got some levels to retest, haven't we? That sticks out. That sticks out. This is primed for taking. Would love to see that. Otherwise, though, there is a lot of stuff that is very pumpy in the S&P. I'm quite happy because I bought a bag of this on Friday. I thought this was at some point going to bottom. And there was actually, so I sold it in post market. This beautiful thing.
Nebulous.
Oh,
so the other thing I've seen, I don't know if you saw that that they're looking very quickly macro-wise. Clearly, stable coins is something that the US is getting into, and they're trying to get into, because I think that possibly saves the US dollar as the reserve currency. And it also, I saw there was an article that was saying about the tokenization of, not tokenization.
Tokenization of stocks has gone to the SEC, hasn't it?
Yeah. So all these things as a crypto thing is going to basically force every major institution to allocate a portion of their assets to crypto. They have to, because otherwise you're going to be left behind. So that's a positive thing, I think, from a crypto standpoint, but it's still the thing that bothers me about it still is it's such an anyone can create a cryptocurrency. You've got access as retail investors to every single ICO. You've got access to being venture capital on stuff. You've got access to trading gazillions of tickers, whereas in TradFi, you're the barrier to entry is much harder.
Yeah, agree.
And it's that, and that's why we're seeing the Wild West.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it'll be interesting, certainly the stock tokenization, because I think you'll have a portion of it. The issue is, and I look at it, is that there's probably quite a few companies in which you couldn't have total tokenization because you have to have some names behind ownership, and obviously the rules around takeovers. I say this sort of from a telecoms background is like the industry I work in. You need the government has a golden share. You look at a lot of the American companies that are sort of nationally protected, you wouldn't be able to have like a Chinese company come in and buy up all the supply. Imagine if like the Chinese bought half of Lockheed Martin, for instance.
Well, so funny you should say that. Back in my history of working in the finance markets and insurance and stuff like that, there was an influx or steady inflow of capital that was coming through from China, and then the defence contractors, because you had confidential information, were suddenly going, "Oh my God, we're not allowing ownership from Chinese kind of companies, but then we're giving all the intel away from insurance background and stuff like that," and that got curtailed pretty quickly. So yeah, it's quite interesting from that standpoint. Like you say, there's going to have to be some regulation around it, I dare say.
Yeah, 100%. I think moving on then.
Yes.
Gold. Shall we talk some gold?
Let's talk.
I can flash a chart up.
Flash it out.
And we can marvel in the fact that gold is now. Oh, this is an annotated chart, but
gold is on a non-stop tear to ripping faces. It shows no sign of abating. The best performing, or one of the best performing assets across the whole year, outside of like the odd like major assets, is outperforming everything. It's mental. It is literally mental, and the money it takes to move the chart like this is, I mean, we're going on about a market cap of the entirety of crypto that is made up of 67 billion projects of $4 trillion or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What's gold? 24 trillion, 25 trillion?
Yeah.
Asset
that candle alone there, that weekly candle alone there, is probably over $1 trillion to create that candle.
Well, you've got obviously the spot price to move it. But then from a trading standpoint, you have your fight. Not only have you got to push the price up, but you've also got to rip through all the people that are shorting against you as well.
Yeah.
And it's very similar. And I think we talked about it the other week about the differences in wave structure, about having like deep pullbacks versus what is a bullish wave structure. You look at this, it's pump, consolidate, pump, consolidate, pump. There is no pullbacks, like on a higher time frame anyway. It's so impressive of how much control they have. It's quite a good learning curve of how to trade. I mean, I look at the weekly chart and marvel. I don't trade the weekly chart because I don't really care. I don't care if we're bullish, bearish. I'm a scalper when it comes to gold. I'm not interested in the higher time frames. Don't even bother these days. Don't really do much top-down analysis on it either because I don't need to. But it's I think a lot of people, especially newbies, will be drawn to the fact that you've got 65 million tickers that you can trade in crypto and day trade and whatnot. I know some very good traders that literally day trade gold, and that's it. One ticker and make probably more money than any single person I've seen make in crypto.
Yeah.
Not even remotely close. Like as a day trading thing. But it's still, everyone thinks that crypto is manipulated. If you want to see impressive manipulation, watch the gold chart. 20, what do we say? 20, what's the market cap now? 25 trillion, 24 trillion?
Yeah, it might be even higher than that. I'll have a Google.
I'm sure it is well over like 23, 24 trillion.
I won't actually. I will use Comet and see what Perplexity says. Yeah, it is nuts. Like that as a chart is just, it's scary. it's scary because ultimately the thing is the people now buying and moving money into gold aren't necessarily doing it for upside anymore.
No.
They're doing it for protection.
Yep. Yeah, it's and it's obviously this is front running. I mean, if you overlay, which I've got somewhere that I've done ages ago, what happens to gold during after a presidential election, it normally has a significant pullback of like 20-30%.
Yeah.
The fact that we haven't even begun that yet does kind of say to me, are we front running something? Which I suggest we probably are. What did you find out the market cap?
Yeah, 25 trillion, it reckons.
$25 trillion. One asset.
Buys you a nice holiday, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've had worse days. But yeah, you go 25 trillion asset class, and they can manipulate it to the dollar.
Yeah.
Just shows you.
These are the forces you're playing with.
Yes. So if you, as a general rule of thumb, like most people go, oh, I'll trade with the smart money and stuff like that. And then they're talking about trading, I don't know, some altcoin that's got, even if it's say, right, it's got 500 million of market cap. There's no smart money in that. There's manipulated stuff from the exchanges and market makers. It's not smart money.
No.
Smart money you'll get on Bitcoin and ETH and stuff like that. So, but this is, you can't battle against this. Even if you, I've heard of stories from some friends of big hedge funds that have lots and lots of money, billions, and they have tried to manipulate or market make gold and got their pants pulled down basically, because you're playing with forces far, far, far greater than, even if you've got 10 billion as a hedge fund, you are literally a rounding error. You're not an influencer at all.
Yeah.
So with that being said, obviously, if you think you're ever gonna crack on and outwit anybody trading gold, you're sorely mistaken. It's they same as, so obviously in the crypto space we have the lovely blockchain world, so you can, and there's a lot of information that's out there to show you what the open interest is and where the liquidations are on the heat maps and stuff like that. but it's all nonsense. It's all manipulated. It's the same on. You haven't got that same level of information that's provided from publicly on gold, but the exchanges, your brokers, do have information of who's going short and where the liquidity sits, and you'll get these pumps, and people keep going short, and then the powers that be will just keep going buy, until they have achieved whatever they're looking to achieve. So if you go on to like the 1 hour chart with, for example, and you look at that like from the top down, right? This whole run up, and you go, there's not one low that has been retested.
No.
All the entire run up, as far as you could go back, probably from the breakout, there's just, and they can leave that for as long as they possibly want. So
that's probably the only one there.
It's the only one. But anything, there's so much sell side liquidity that has just not been tested. Just nothing at all. So you think of all of the selling pressure that's happened during that run up, yet they've just kept going. Send. So that's just people will just keep shorting this.
Yeah.
And I know this because I've been there, done it, and got the battle scars from it. You'll think, right, it's going to turn around here, and then it doesn't, or it starts showing a formation that looks like it's a reversal, and then just carries on going. It does not care. They do not care. It will chug away until they deem they've built the liquidity or moved the price to where it's really priced to. And obviously, when they're doing this, as you marked out just a minute ago on the daily, you've got that like consolidation pattern. So, prime example of just consolidate, build liquidity, and then just pump. Now, you look at the run up that we've had on the weekly on gold or the daily, whatever you want to do. Then you look at the Bitcoin chart from the bottom of the cycle. I'm not saying there's a direct correlation here, but you look at the Bitcoin. For the most part, you've got that on the 3 minute. It's probably not a fair, not a fair comparison.
What's the number in? Oh, I need to change it up here. It's changed on here as well. What did I have it on? I had it on the daily.
Weekly. Get a weekly.
On the weekly. Yeah, the 3 minute is a.
Right, so if you go to the bottom of the cycle of Bitcoin, look what happens. So pump, consolidate, pump, consolidate, pump, consolidate. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So if you then go, right, people are consider that Bitcoin is the digital gold. There is some correlation there with the charts.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, you can probably put other charts. But what interests me really with gold is normally, and I know this is not a trading thing, but normally gold would be the thing that people turn to in times of crisis in other markets.
Yeah.
That's what's weird.
Yeah, because stock market indices are pretty much pushing up still.
Yeah.
Certainly in the US. The European ones are beginning to flag a little bit, but they're still pumping. Like Germany's still pumping really well. Yeah.
So I don't know what that's telling us. And what will also be interesting, if we was in a normal cycle, say now, and we go, right, in 6 months' time, the stock market's going to crash. And then that's when gold starts going up in price. obviously, traditionally, Bitcoin has been going in the opposite direction. It will go in the same direction as the stock market. Will we start seeing that traverse more over to when gold traditionally would go up? Will Bitcoin do the same, or will it follow the stock market still? So that's something. But anyway, that being said, so gold trading, don't be too smart. Don't try and be too clever. It's a wicked beast at times. You've got to. I think trying to just purely trade it and second guess what people are doing, you've got to. It's a prime example where you've got to trade what you're given by the markets rather than trying to go, well, it's got to go up or it's got to go down because we're at an all-time high, or it can same with Bitcoin, it can just keep chugging away as much as it wants, and it doesn't matter how much it pumps, it can just keep going absolutely crazy. So some words of wisdom or warning or whatever, if you are scalping it and you are more of a crypto trader at the moment, news events in especially affect traditional finance way more than it does crypto. So you will get wild swings during, obviously FOMC affects crypto, but CPI coming out, non-farm jobs data and stuff like that, it will have big moves. When you say big moves, like 0.2% is a decent sized move. But again, it depends how you trade it. I'm a scalper. I like to be in and out of trades. Sometimes it's one candle and done, which is obviously pleasant. But what you tend to find as well in not just gold, but traditional finance in general, volume comes in during session opens. So New York, London, Asia. It is way more session based, where you get the volume spikes, and then you get the volume lulls. But again, you can only really find that out by backtesting, bar replay, whatever you want to do, and watching how charts react to stuff. I would probably guess, well, not guess, the best traders I know probably bar replay or test more than anyone else combined. There is a correlation there. I'm not saying I'm the best trader, but I spend probably at least 2 hours every day on bar replay, or using FX replay or bar replay, and just watching price and then learning the patterns of trading. So again, one of the things where people that with crypto, you've got 65 million assets that you can trade, but gold, you've got one. But if you can get in tune with, when I get zoned in, and there's a few people in the chat I can see that will see when I'm in the zone and communicating, that they'll know I can pretty much call the moves as it's going, which is quite fun. So you can get properly into the matrix, like you've taken the pills and you're in the matrix, and you can go, right, you can play every single move up and down, which is quite fun. It's a lot harder to do on crypto, I would say. But again, I wouldn't advise people trade every wave, because that's just stupidity. Just take the high probability stuff. Focus on, you've got to, I was saying this the other day, so with TradFi, going back to the volume side of things, if you are scalping, you want to trade during volume sessions. So New York Open, London, Asia, as we said. Most people are not like that, have a real job whereby they are somewhat compromised by having to earn an honest living and sit there and can only look at the charts between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. UK time, for example, as an example, which is, for the most part, the lowest volume of the day.
Yeah.
And then if you are only trading between certain times, you then have you're trading during low volume times. You're not in trade, so it's then you don't get many trades presenting. Well, the way I trade and my testing data anyway, you don't get trades that present. And if you don't get trades that present, then you start taking suboptimal trades. And then
you force them.
Yeah. And then what happens from there?
Yeah.
Nothing good.
Exactly.
Nothing
exactly.
Good.
That was one of my big learnings, I think, when I was sort of learning, is I found, because I was in that same boat with the job, and I found my learning a lot easier by using paper trading on bar replay rather than trying to trade live in suboptimal times.
Yeah.
And then you can at least sort of see the setups and why they're occurring.
Yeah.
I think that's an underused feature. I think certainly for people learning to trade is that bar replay and really understanding sort of how, ultimately, it's how price action works on different assets. I look at a lot more things than just gold. So I've got a less focused view of price action, but I look across some weird and wonderful assets that price action is a little bit different to gold.
Yes.
And behaves differently.
Every single asset, every single chart will have its own way it trades. So that's fine. But then you've got to understand the game that you're playing. So if you, as an individual, have only got a certain amount of hours a day that you can trade, first and foremost, and then they are outside of suboptimal trades. So if you're scalping, you have to be in front of your screen and watching every single candle. Anyone that says they're scalping and they walk away and they're not looking at their screen, you're either not scalping properly or you are just gambling, because you need to watch. Every candle matters.
Yeah. If
you have only got a couple of hours a day and you've only got you're outside of the volume times, you've also therefore got to go, right, I can't scalp. I can't do this. No. I can't, despite how good Justin can scalp.
You're into swing coach at that point.
You've got to go, right, I have not got the tools to play this game.
Yeah.
It's like going to play golf with a cricket bat or something like that, or it's just not going to work. So, again, this is just a bit more spiritual guidance for people. You've got to be honest with yourself of when I can trade, how I can trade, what I can look at. And if you go, I can only work a couple of hours a day, fine, you can't scalp. So what can you do? Could I look at day trades? Could I look more at swing trades? Yes.
Yeah.
But then you're looking at something completely different to how I trade it myself. And if you try and force a strategy into a different time frame, it's not going to work. Again, we've talked about liquidity, and the higher the liquidity of the asset, the lower the time frame you can trade it. So yes, there's not many assets that are higher liquidity than gold. So yes, you can trade it sometimes. I'll watch sometimes the 30-second candles on gold. Not necessarily trading it, but I'm just looking for gain levels and stuff. Not suggesting you do that lower time frame. It's quite good fun. The only problem is the moves that you're looking for. You can still effectively the same principles applies on every time frame, really. But yeah, just a bit stupid. So, like I say, the first thing you've got to do for anyone is go, how much time have I got to trade? When can I trade? Then you can start going, right, I need to be looking at, I don't have a job, I can sit at the screen and I can stare at the screen for 4 hours a day around the session opens. Great. Fine, you can scalp to your heart's content. You might not like it, but it's something that's available to you. If you have got less time, then you genuinely need to go, right, I need to look at something different. And there are a variety of ways to trade, a variety of time frames, and obviously the higher time frames, for me, it's just very, very simple. You've seen my charts whiz. It's a couple of lines, maybe a box or two.
Line here, box here,
yeah,
line here, done.
And that's kind of it. And that's what scalping. I don't really draw much stuff on there for that either. I'm not going to lie.
No.
But again, you're looking for reaction points, and you've got to test what fits for you. Most people do not have a plan on stuff, and you can trade this in a variety of ways, and you've just got to go, right, the risk reward. I'm mostly, when I'm scalping, looking for 1R risk reward. I'm not looking for Grand Slam trades. I'm literally looking for points in the chart on low time frame where price is going to react, and that's it. So I'm literally looking. I'm not looking for. So at the moment we've got bullish structure going up on a 5 minute from the London low, probably.
Yeah.
So
London low down here.
So if you measure out, for example, I normally, I'm looking most of the time at somewhere between 30 and 50 pip moves. So go up. So it's basically $3 to $5 moves. That's it. So I'm looking for points where price is going to retest, and effectively it doesn't need to make a new high within the structure, a new low. You're trading internal liquidity, and you're basically looking for bounces. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for 100 pip moves. I'm not looking for so in gold terms, like 50 pips is basically $5 of price movement.
Yeah.
So if you measure that out with, just for people so they can see, just as a comparison. So I'll keep going. So effectively that one candle is basically the entirety of the move I'm looking for. And that's why sometimes you can get in and out on a candle. I'm not looking for Grand Slam, massive long trades. I'm there to just
get in, get out,
take my profits, and just compound. So I have recently done some bits and pieces, and on one of the accounts I 27 or 26x on the account in 3 months, I think it was. And and that was purely just scalping, and that was averaging 5 trades a day, I think it was.
Yeah, that was gold, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you had the Mech C1 challenge as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I've done variety. Yeah, sometimes I get bored of them and I just kind of just stop. Other ones I continue to just march on. I mean, I don't know if you can do crypto on it, but I've stopped using bar replay as much on TradingView, and I use a platform called FX Replay.
Yeah.
To do testing stuff, that is. But yeah, that for me, that works. So I'm looking for points in the chart where you go, right, where is this going to have a 30, 50 pip reaction? That's it.
Yeah.
Now, with that, you need to be pretty precise, because if you're having a 30, 50% pip reaction, that's the same as your stop loss. So you have to be pretty bang on with stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can get stopped out real quick, and scalping's great because there's potentially lots of trades to be had. But if you get it wrong, you can potentially lose money much faster.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well on gold, you can see just how long some of the downward wicks are on these.
Yeah.
Like even on the 5 minute, you can see you've got long wick, long wick, long wick, long wick.
Yeah.
Long wick, long wick, long wick. So these are here to take you out, essentially.
Yeah, they're liquidations, purely that. And again, I think we've discussed it before. A lot of people get taught pretty patterns that you can trade. There's no dig at Haller, by the way, in his former life, but patterns, or you do this system or that system or wick off or all this stuff. Reading candles, and I don't mean, oh, that one's a shooting star and that one's a doja. I mean, actually, what is the candle telling you?
Yeah.
And again, we talked about it. If you see wicks, what do wicks equal? Liquidity. I don't need a heat map for that. So if you've got lots of wicks, right, that's going to be an area that you'd look that it's going to have a reaction from, a potential reaction. Now, that could quite easily, like where you're looking there, and you was just pointing out them long wicks, you could draw a box around some of those wicks and go, right, that could bounce from there. Absolutely. But gold or traditional finance in general sometimes will go, right, we're not going to do the back test. We'll sweep this entire structure, and then we'll underside retest it and then that liquidity turns from demand into supply. So there's lots of stuff that people to scalp in general, and I'm not going to go massively in depth with how I do it and what I do, purely because it's a really, really personal thing of how you do it, and probably how you do it, Wiz, is different to how I do it. I constantly, I would never go trade it. This is how I do it.
No.
Here you go, everyone, crack on.
Find what works. Find what works for you. Find the asset that works for you, the strategy that works for you, the time frame that works for you, and execute.
Yeah, because otherwise you're gonna just, if you don't understand. Well, maybe it's just me. I like to understand what's happening. Some people are like, right, there's a flow chart. If this happens, then do this, then look for this, then enter the trade. Maybe I have that in my own brain. I don't know, but I'm constantly watching and evolving and going, right, this might actually liquidate the structure here, because we've had, like when we was looking at the 1 hour and we go, right, new low, every single low hadn't been retested. At some point, the entire structure will get swept, and that's when you get the massive liquidations, because they'll allow people to keep going long. Same in crypto. That's why you get the liquidity flushes, because at some point they need to balance the books, as we've talked about many times before.
Yeah, agree.
So I would say it's. I know you're thinking of wrapping this up in a minute, because
we can talk. We can talk a bit of crypto. I think we can talk a little bit of crypto. I say this because I've been completely out of crypto, not really looking much, but I am.
So when you're trading gold, Wiz, how do you similar kind of to me, where you're looking at points of interest and going,
Yeah.
this is gonna just react here and just.
Yeah. So I will look for areas I think will react, whether that be from candle structures or if there's particular areas of volume. So, I mean, I love the FRVP. I find this quite a useful tool. So I'd potentially just like go over an area there.
Yeah.
And I'd say I'd look, this area here is interesting and sticks out. I think here you probably get a reaction of some form here.
Yeah.
If it gave you the chance, this might be a bounce area. But then also I do look at the session sweeps. So if so I would potentially, let me see if I can find the right one. No, that's not the right one. Is that the right one? Yeah, so I'd potentially look at something like this as well and say, like, where am I looking to sweep and go the full ICT? So I'd have looked at this and I'd have gone, right, I can see the London high session getting swept.
Yeah.
And it sweeps it. And then, yeah, you can see Asia high taken down. So then I might say, okay, along with the reaction points, I might then also look at this London low here being swept or the Asian low being swept.
Yeah.
I do quite like this indicator. Makes my life quite easy. But I'd look at,
which one's that?
So this is it's one called ICT Kill
Zones. Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite nice because it just sort of sits under the chart, and like I say, I do quite like the ICT stuff in terms of sweeping session highs and session lows, because it does tend to happen quite frequently.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately it's a tool in the toolbox, and I think as a trader, having as many different tools in the toolbox that you can call upon to read a situation, is helpful.
Yeah, I completely. It's understanding, as long as it doesn't confuse you.
No.
And because what I see sometimes, people will go, right, I'm looking for this today, and then tomorrow I'm looking for that, and then they'll go, well, I'm going to take a bit of a hybrid of this and that, and really inconsistent in their approaches.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you're inconsistent, there's no way you can measure your results, and if you can't measure results, you can't determine whether you're successful or not. You could go,
yeah,
actually, my account's up, I must be doing something right. But it might be one trade that kind of skews the results, because that one gave you a 10R risk reward, but then you've lost another 8, for example, which is fine.
Yeah.
You can have 10R risk. That can be your plan if you want.
Yeah.
But your win rate, if you're looking at that kind of thing, is not going to be more than probably, unless you're. If anyone does 10R, by the way, and their win rate is in the 80s, please let me know. I'm willing to work with you. But really, the probability-wise, if you've got a 10R, your win rate, 20-30%, you would be ecstatic with.
Yeah.
Perversely, you could have a half R win rate, and you could have 90%, and you're doing really well. But again, it comes down to the plan, right?
Yeah. And it's also a case of judging. So going back on sort of the session sweeps, you would then potentially have a bias of trying to read the situation of, we'll have sweep this and flush back down. But you'd look at that, and I think from a candle formation, that is not a set of candles that you'd want to stand in the way of.
Nah. There's something like that. You want to see the structure at the top starting to round off.
Yeah.
But then what will happen? So if you go across slightly, so let's have a look at the rest of the London session. Yeah, so that it's not even rounded off, is it? It's just got to London, continued on, and then just gone bang again.
Yeah, and you can see it's just gone.
Yeah.
Through and through, and it never swept this low.
No.
And I don't think it will sweep that low, at least for a while.
No.
Swept there. As you can see, swept Asia. And Asia, you swept, went slightly above before coming down, but you never swept this low here.
Yeah.
And I'd highly doubt that this low would get swept. I think maybe if you're lucky, you get this low swept. This one feels like...
Well, the thing is, what you'll get at some point is, what have we got? Nothing today.
Tomorrow, we've got a lot of news on Thursday.
Yeah, so we've got PPI and then CPI and University of Michigan on Friday. So there's a bit from basically tomorrow onwards. So what will happen, this gets set up, ready for news. Not that the news makes a blind bit of difference, but it allows the volume to come in to be able to potentially, and it might only sweep a couple of the lows, for example, and then just pump to Valhalla. It could pump and then hit into a supply zone around 3,700 and then just nuke. It doesn't really matter. And trying to second guess what they're going to do is a fool's game, in my opinion. You've just got to trade what the market gives you. And like you say, trading the sessions, the sweeps is always something to watch for. It doesn't mean reversal. Sometimes like you'll get where we've got pre-session, we've swept the high from London. Sometimes it will sweep the high of Asia and then just overside retest it and carry on pumping. So we're pretty much equal highs around the Asia high now, I think.
Yeah.
Still looks strongish to me. Doesn't look like it's breaking structure at all. It seems like it's going up. So I would imagine the next, where are we going next? 3,663 maybe. 3,686. Around that kind of area.
Yeah.
But again, you get, after a while, you get used to these moves. You can not guess, but you can have an idea of where they're going to move it to next.
I tell you what would be interesting is whether or not, I don't think we will, because I think we'll see some movement on ETH. But could you imagine if the gold price in dollars flips that of ETH?
Yeah, I actually traded ETH yesterday for the first time.
I'm long on ETH.
Yeah, I longed it yesterday.
I longed, I think, down here-ish. I think my entry was like around here.
Mine was a crowd pleasing 4,300 on the nose. So
yeah, I think I was 4,316.
Yeah,
I got in. So that's looking rosy. I'm slightly annoyed, and I shouldn't be. My TP on Solana was 212. So I basically longed it on Sunday night here. I mean, to be honest, I say that it was a good trade. Like,
did you bank money?
I did.
Well, you're outperforming probably 99% of people in crypto because they will be losing or making good efforts to lose.
It was also quite highly leveraged, so yeah, it's always nice to get those in the money and closed.
Yeah, my ETH trade was 100x long, so
I was 300x on Solana.
I'll take your trade, Justin. I'll triple the leverage. But leverage is fine. It doesn't really matter what it is, whether it's 1x or 500x. If you plan your trade accordingly,
it's the same result. It's measured trade. I said this to someone the other day, and I said, thing is, it's a 1% trade. For me, because my fees on the platform I used were so cheap, it made sense to use less margin, and therefore, so like MEXC, for instance, if I do a trade, I can ramp up the leverage, use a lot less margin, and then with the money that I save from margin, I can buy the MX token, stake it to get reduced fees, which it's playing that arbitrage game, and that's essentially what I've been doing. I did it on Hyperliquid. It was perfect. The money that I saved from having to have in margin stuck, I bought Hype, and then obviously you get a return from Hype, and your Hype then pays for what you pay more in the funding rates.
Again, you're playing the hand that's dealt to you in the best way that you can play the hand. Just 300 leverage doesn't bother me. For the most part, I don't have if it's gold, I'll have one trade open at a time. I don't have multiple trades. For the most part, crypto-wise, if you're using sensible risk and you're in one, maybe two trades at a time, it's pretty hard to screw it up with, and you trade with a stop loss. I always trade with a stop loss. If you don't, then that is
300x, no stop loss.
What
can go wrong?
So if you don't, fine. It's I assume you enjoy gambling. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, it's you can have it and go right. I'll go on isolated and I'll have my liquidation price as my stop loss.
Yeah.
As long as you have an invalidation point.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I know a couple of people who do that, but my issue with that is I look at things from like a return on capital type of view. And for me, I'd look at it, and if you're using an isolated position and you're using your liquidation price of that isolated position as a stop loss, you could have a bigger position with more leverage and achieve the same loss with a calculated stop loss than using a liquidation stop loss.
Yeah. But the thing is, what's always bothers me as well is having, if you have multiple trades open, even with 10x leverage, say, and you've got a number of trades open, you're just putting yourself in an unfavorable position that could go to shit pretty quickly. You don't want to just, it's hard enough to get gains as it is, then just give them all back from ill discipline or lack of plan. That is, again, slightly foolish. It's but again, you find it quite a lot where people are just, they say they're trading, but you're actually gambling.
Yeah, 100%.
It's 100%. Again, it's fine. Fine's a gamble if that's your plan, but you've got to accept the consequences. There's plenty of
world's biggest casino. But yeah, I think that was the big turning point for me is like when you understand leverage and it's a tool. It's not a like, oh, I want this position, so I'm going to amplify it by doing 10x or 20x. It's not. It's measure out your position, and you can use leverage then as a tool. I like to use it as a tool for arbitrage. Like for me, I'd rather own the exchange token that I'm trading on than have my money tied up in margin, because ultimately the exchange token, if I bought at a good price, will have more upside.
Yeah.
I had one where I bought, instead of margin, I did a highly leveraged position on hyperliquid, and I thought instead of having it tied up as margin, I'll buy some hyperliquid. And I bought some hyperliquid at $35, and I've closed the trade, paid the funding rates and whatnot, and my hyperliquid is now worth $54.
Yeah.
And it's finding that arbitrage. Like ultimately, it's there. And exchanges are so competitive now, fee wise. The amount of exchanges now that are no fee or very low fees, or like it's such a competitive environment, crypto exchanges, because there's so little barriers to entry.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Well, they're cutting each other's throats, don't they? Basically.
Yeah. And it's not hard to get cheap rates. I mean, if you're, and they want your business. If you're trading whatnot, and I've done it before, where I've messaged an exchange and said, look, can you give me a discount on rates? They have the ability to cut you promo deals. Yeah. I've done it before. I've just cold messaged an exchange, said, look, I want to use your exchange. Rates are quite high. Can you I get these rates from this exchange. Can you match them? Yes, sir, we can match them.
Yeah. Don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly.
But again, it's just, you look at hedge funds, they make a lot of money from arbitrage. There's lots and lots and lots of ways of making money and trading and stuff like that. It's not just going on the 15-minute chart and going, I think this is going to go long here, and press buy. It's at least ways to hedge your position or make it slightly more favourable.
100%. And to be honest, if I share my screen, it's even made easy for you by, I think, no, that's not, is that the right one? It's even made easy for you. If you got like hyperliquid, for instance, will tell you the arbitrage between the exchange. Like you can go on here and you can see what the arbitrage between Binance and hyperliquid is, and if it's a big arbitrage, you can play it. Like you'd look at Bitcoin Cash and think like that's quite a big arbitrage. It's a massive arbitrage on World Liberty.
Yeah.
And there's people that play those. I mean, I think you have to be relatively experienced if you are trying to play the arbitrage game.
It's not one of those things you do unless you are absolutely 1,000,000% confident in what you're doing. Yeah. Because you normally have to play with decent sized capital, because you're talking about such small, or the probability of winning is obviously baked in because you know what the arbitrage is.
Yeah.
But you're playing with large capital because the returns are small, but the probability is high. But the human element of if you balls it up, you can get it quite badly wrong quite quickly. And it's to be honest, it's not something I do for the most part.
No, this is the type of stuff that you do with algorithms and huge amounts of capital. Yeah. I mean, it's an important facet of the system because this is essentially what keeps. This is the free market element that keeps all the exchanges in check.
Yep.
And has to make the exchanges act competitively, because if they're not competitive on this, then people find the arbitrage and they make the money.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like you say, it keeps people in a sensible margin from one kind of price from one exchange to another, and without someone really ramping it up, and because people will take advantage of it. That's fine. But
You can see how competitive it is.
Yeah.
In these big ones.
There's just nothing there, is there? It's just not
No.
even worth. But again, it's those highly liquid ones that you do. What's funny, I was just looking at World Liberty Finance, because obviously that got launched. But it's how quickly these Trump-related coins are available on retail platforms.
Yeah.
So as soon as it's got launched, pretty much immediately, same as Trump and Melania and stuff like that, they got launched on like eToro and stuff like that, retail exchanges, no barrier to entry whatsoever, almost immediately.
Yeah, it's crazy. I met a guy at the Swissborg event. He was like US KOL go to market, and we were chatting about the Trump coin, and he was contracted onto it to like push the launch, and he was saying like he found out, I think like 3 or 4 weeks before it's launched was when he heard about the plans, and that's when he was engaged.
Yeah.
Which shows you the planning. And he said the amount of paperwork he had to sign for disclosures and non-disclosures was unlike anything he'd done previously in his KOL work.
Yeah. You can see the influence that the US government is having over crypto already, which is both good and bad, because it just shows that mass adoption probably is still incoming.
Yeah.
But it also shows that they've got their grubby mitts on it, and which means more control and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. But did I see the other day about because they were going after details of people's accounts on Dexes and stuff, and then they said don't need to do that anymore.
What, the Trump coin?
No, not the coin, but the US government were getting they wanted to know people's details for what they had on Dexes.
Yeah.
They came out, I'm sure they came out and said, actually, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, unless you're really, really careful, you can track. Because if you think about the power that someone like Zach XBT has with the tools that he has, I mean, it's not difficult for the government to implement that at scale. Speaking actually about that,
but the thing
I'm up quite significantly on this. This is one I think, to cut you off, is are you still in Arkham?
Yes.
This is one that I like in a crisis, and you can tell that the institutions love this, because you have a hack and this thing just goes through the roof.
Yeah.
I still think that is so undervalued.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I think that we're relatively safe in this country at the moment with regards to that, because our lovely tax department of the UK
HMRC are useless.
They cannot even get a grasp of traditional finance, let alone anything that's new and shiny and involves probably using an ounce of initiative and brain cells. But at the same time, how clever AI is now and how you can train it, it probably wouldn't take much for them to train some kind of models to go, track the money.
Yeah, all you need is one wallet. And the issue you have is that certainly in the UK, to onboard, you need money.
Yeah.
Even if you want to use something like a obviously Revolut, but even stuff like MoonPay, you enter your details.
Yeah.
And ultimately, once your wallet is infected,
yeah,
you're entirely tracked.
Yeah,
Your
unless
entire
you
stack.
start. What about if you start whacking through tornado cash and stuff like that?
Yeah. But then the issue you've got is if you put your money through Tornado Cash, there's been a lot of people who have had wallets blacklisted. So there was a guy for the for the World Liberty Fi, one of the early investors, who his tokens were flagged because his wallet had used Tornado Cash and had interacted with some sanctioned wallets.
Yeah.
So you do have that.
Do you know? I can see. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But it only takes something like the US government to go, right, we want to be not the founding fathers, but the home of blockchain and crypto. We are charging zero tax on any gains from crypto or relatively small amounts. And it's the same thing as what you were saying with either other governments. Because it's one thing someone like Dubai doing it, or Portugal and other stuff where there's more favourable places. But if they go, even if it's 10%, right, on crypto, other governments around the world either have got to follow suit or undercut it.
Yeah.
Or you're basically going to go, people are just going to go, right, we're going to migrate elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. You see it in Europe. So Europe, I think, is probably the best example of that, particularly sort of mainland Europe, because I think there's favourability in Portugal, and I know Malta is tax-free, and you've then got the benefit of, if you've got an EU passport, you can just say, right, I'm moving to Malta or I'm moving to Portugal, and I'll declare my gains here where they're tax-free.
Yeah.
You don't have to get a visa. You don't have to go through any of those hoops.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're French, for instance, and you're facing 50% capital gains or whatever it is in France, you might say, you know what? I've got all of these capital gains to cash in. Shall we go live in Portugal for 6 months?
Yeah. It goes to it'll be interesting whether the EU will go, no, actually we don't like that. We will block it, or whether it will force them to go, actually 10% of gains is better than nothing.
Yeah. And keep the wealth here. Yeah. Because ultimately I'd pay 10% to not have to live in the middle of the Middle Eastern desert.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I like being able to walk outside in the summer.
Yeah. Now, I for this is my home, and I like it as a country. It has its foibles, like every country does. But if they make it too punitive, then people will just go,
yeah,
I've had enough.
I don't fancy this. See you later.
Yeah. Or they'll just spend a lot of money to make sure that they'll still live here, but you won't have to touch it anyway.
Yeah. And
that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Exactly.
But obviously, this is all predicated on people making lots of money. So let's get that part done first, and then worry about.
Cash in your WorldCoin, cash in your MYX, whatever shit coins you've made your money on. Sell all your XRP before Brad dumps on you.
Yeah. Well, there's some interesting coins. Obviously, we had a few delistings again the other day, didn't we?
Did we? I've not looked. What's delisting?
Or delisted.
That thing is just nuts.
Yeah. Got a bright future, isn't it?
I was reading somewhere, and the timeline goes up as it goes on, but the amount that they're making in fees meant that I think it was like when it was around this price here, they forecast that they could buy up their entire supply in 3 years.
They've nailed it, really, haven't they? They really, really have. But I think some of the, if you look at some of the smaller exchanges, dexes. So
Yeah.
maybe things like is it what they call cake, bake.
Yeah, cake, bake.
Have a look at Lakelands. I don't know if this one's okay at the moment. Have a look at bake and see what happens to that.
Has that started to recover yet? No, is your answer?
No.
I might buy some of that, you know.
I will DM you about it. But there are a few I have my eye on. That's
Yeah. There's some centralized exchange. There's some like more centralized type dexes that I've been doing. So I've been farming lighter. I've been using that and putting some volume through that on some trades, hoping for a nice airdrop on that. Did I actually? Have you seen Curve?
yes.
Justin?
Yeah.
Have you seen their acquisition news?
No.
So it looks like Lloyd's are going to buy Curve for $162 million.
See, I hold quite a bit of Curve.
Which
That's quite interesting.
Which would be interesting considering.
That's TradFi getting in, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah. Lloyd's is probably one of the better performing banks.
yeah.
Although still pretty horrendous. I mean, just look at that. British banks have never recovered from 08. But yeah, Lloyd's are pretty much on the verge of buying Curve. I don't know what that means for the token because that'll be. I can't think of many other cases where we've had a listed company buy a token, and essentially with what then does the token represent? Does it represent ownership? But it can't really represent ownership because Lloyd's has bought ownership.
Yeah.
So like then it's a case of how does it work and how does it sit?
Do you like the project in general, Curve?
I do, yeah. I like it. So I hold a fair bit of this. It's one of those as well that I like to buy when it has a dump because it moves very aggressively.
Yeah.
So I do like Curve. But yeah, Lloyd's are pretty much on the verge of buying it, which is interesting because that then opens up. Do we see other banks come in and buy some of the other wallets? I mean, imagine how much Phantom would be worth if a TradFi company came in and wanted to buy it. I mean, you're paying Phantom's probably worth over $1 billion.
Yeah.
Or near there.
Well, but I think Arve is a similar kind of thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because all of them ones have done pretty well, haven't they, in general?
Yeah.
This cycle.
Yeah. What was the other one? Comp. Because this one tends to lag Arve.
Well, I know Comp is something. I'm pretty sure it's one of our mutual friends quite likes as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's spoken to me about it.
Yeah.
But we could talk about that offline.
Yes.
What else have I got? Hopefully this thing begins to move soon because I have way too much of this to be in the shitter.
I think it's just.
I'm just waiting for the. But then you just get stuff that's so manipulated, like this thing.
Yeah.
Walked up, I thought it was coming down, it held that line, and then someone's just gone.
Yeah.
This thing's not making much money.
No.
But they've raised so much money that they can just buy the shares back. Near is really cheap.
I like Near. I've got quite a bit of Near as well, which is badly in the red at the moment. But hopefully, one day that won't be the case.
Berachain is another one actually I quite like.
Yeah, I've heard you speak about this one.
Yeah, this was one that our mutual friend was very keen on. But I think he was a lot keener on it when it was here rather than here.
Yeah.
Because it's had a fairly miserable time. But from a levels perspective, it's grinding up the levels really well.
Yeah.
This piece of garbage.
Oh gosh, I've never got involved in that.
No, I've got a bag of it, and it's just I sold it. I sold it like I think around here.
Yeah.
I was selling all the way down here because I thought I just don't want to hold on to this.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. It's like looking at where, from an ROI perspective, is rather than holding something in the hope that it goes up, is if you can then take your money out. If something's down 50% and you can take your money out and you can find something that can then outperform.
Yeah.
That's the arbitrage you're looking at.
So what's your, if you was going to pick 3 assets that's going to outperform in the next 3 months, what are you going for? Apart from Soul Season.
That'll blow faces.
Yeah.
It's already gone a little bit, but I don't see a world in which this stops.
Nah.
I think this wouldn't surprise me if this hits, if this starts to flirt with the $100.
Yeah.
Because this makes money regardless of market conditions.
Yes.
And I think they've pretty much established themselves there. And what they do is you also have APIs, so you can set. There's a lot of exchanges now that are just set up, run outside of Hyperliquid, but use Hyperliquid's protocol liquidity, and they do stable coins now, Hyperliquid.
Yeah.
So that'll be really interesting because they'll begin decoupling USDT and making the trading pairs USDH.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hyperliquid. I think ZRO. I still really like this as a project. And I think this one's accumulated down here for so long. It just feels like
it's a very, very good project, isn't it? In general, that like long-term wise will be a solid. Quite easily be a top 20 asset at least.
Yeah, 100%.
What about things like Wormhole? Do you think that they will do all right as well?
I've not even looked at Wormhole for age. I did see though that Wormhole put in a bid for Stargate. You know when Stargate got acquired by Layer Zero?
Yeah.
Wormhole tried their luck. I've not actually had a look at Wormhole for ages. I mean, looks quite good, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's the USDC pair.
Yeah. USDT goes back further, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it's literally W. What's it called? W USDT.
Here it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The thing is, something like that. Let's have a quick look at W. So that's sitting at 430 million market cap. So probably say that's undervalued.
Yeah.
What's ZRO sitting at market cap wise? 500 million.
So anything on here that's gone pretty nuts? That is just ridiculous, isn't it? It wouldn't surprise me though if you see a rejection here.
It goes to Christmas Future. It's.
I'm still long on this. Just my TP was 3.6, which is annoying.
What was it saying? WorldCoin. I'll just see what.
Yeah. Poor. I don't know what this thing was, but that's an obscene one. I was chatting to Dave actually about this because I set up an account on this exchange to buy it,
Yeah.
This is the one that's just been stupidly nuts. And it was like round here yesterday. So I said to Dave, "Oh, I'll buy some of it." And I'm up quite nicely on that. But that was just a mad chart to do a 46. What's that? 46x.
Just mental, isn't it? Just be nice for one of my tokens.
Yeah. What other exchange tokens? This one actually. I saw.
OKX token went nuts, didn't it?
Yeah. Where's OKX there? Yeah, that was a nuts one. I don't know what they announced. Oh, whatever that is. Recurring buys in the US, new app launch. I don't use OKX. I've never really used it.
No, I haven't either.
It's the one exchange I don't really use. Whereas I use the Femex one had quite a nice push up actually.
Does anyone use Femex still?
I quite like Femex, but only because I've got a load of money on there that I've never bothered to take off. But I tend to use, because Femex were one of the few exchanges I had where you could trade coin margined.
Mm-hmm.
So I just used that as a place where I could put my Bitcoin, I could put my AVAX, I could put my Solana, and I'd just trade with that and get more of that and just trade inverse. Cato. I've actually got some of this stake somewhere. I need to find which wallet.
Too many wallets, Wiz. That's the problem.
I know, it's terrible. No, I had some of this that I staked. I don't even know why I staked it. But yeah, this thing is just obscene. This is just every crypto person's dream, isn't it? To have like a 10x leverage position open here.
That's mental. And what sent that up?
Not a clue. It is like a Chinese hyper. I don't know why the technicals are saying that's a strong buy even here.
Or is someone just like falling asleep with the buy key on their keyboard?
It's just nuts, isn't it? There's not really too much else that's moved.
I think we're in a lull. It's next week, isn't it? FOMC, or is it the week after? Next week.
Yeah, this has moved really well.
Yeah, that's again. I know that our mutual friend has high hopes for the project.
Yeah, I even gave this as I won't say a signal, but I gave it as a
recommend
that word on stream with Hala. We longed it from here to here.
Yeah.
What else do I quite like? Because I've only given you two.
I think everything else is kind of just waiting. I can't see. There's nothing that says, like, because some of the pumps that you've been getting, it's just fully random, and it will just.
Yeah, I think this has another day in the sun.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, it's because I don't know if they still are, but I know World Liberty Finance were using Cal Protocol quite a bit for the transactions.
This will be technology that's used institutionally because it makes it. I mean, because the way it works, it just batches the orders together and makes it cheaper.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, I've got some funny tickers actually. Where's this one? I don't know what this is, but this is one of those where it's quite good just to buy and just set your sell orders because you just get stupid wicks.
Yeah. They just get random. I still think things like Celestia will.
I like Celestia. Yeah.
Clearly being held back.
I quite like Dash. This is one to keep an eye on, I think, because this for me looks like it's on the verge of breaking out.
I think a lot of alts are like that. What about 1 inch? You got 1 inch on your radar?
All right, don't. Is that an insult?
Not on this stream. Not on this stream. That's after the watershed later on.
Yeah, I like 1 inch. I've got a bag of this. It's not a particularly healthy bag anymore, but it's
Again, but it's another one of those.
it'll just cover on one of those.
Yeah.
Interesting to see Borg up today, because obviously they had the Swiss Borg. Swiss Borg was impacted by the stuff yesterday.
Yeah.
That's consolidating quite nicely.
It's just filling in them gaps, isn't it? It's just again, just there are other ones like some of them. Like if you look at Zai, whatever it's called, XAI.
XAI.
Yeah, I mean that thing has been absolutely brutalized. It's just
I've got a for some reason I had an account that had it didn't have much in it. I think it was about $1,000, $2,000 or something in, and I think I had Zai on like a 3x leverage and ZRO on a 3x leverage, and I'd completely forgotten about it. I'd been stupid and not put a stop loss, and I've got that account, and I will log into that account and have a look at it. The liquidation price on it is, I think, like pretty much zero. I said to myself, I'm not logging into that account until ZRO is $5. And this thing is more palatable, and this thing's more palatable.
But that is literally the definition of click and forget.
Yeah. But this thing was brutal, wasn't it? Like,
yeah. But again, I'm pretty sure it's not the worst project in the world.
No.
I'm sure that you've got to have some kind of exit pump at some point.
Yeah.
Got to.
Yeah.
Is it going to go back up to like $1 plus? Probably not.
No.
Or maybe. You never know.
I've got limit orders set on this for. I think I've got one here, 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 and here.
Yeah.
I mean, if it gets to 90 cents,
done all right.
I'll take that.
All right. Yeah.
This is an interesting one actually as well. I've been buying a little bit more of this. Wrecked. The drink is horrible, but I find it really interesting. It's one of those interesting dynamics along with Pengu, where it's that IP play, and it wouldn't surprise me if somebody at some point, as we saw like Curve getting done by Lloyd's, it wouldn't surprise me at all if you saw like a Pepsi or a Coca-Cola say, look, it's got quite a low base. Do we just buy it or partner?
Which is, again, it's you can see these kind of things coming down the pipe, can't you, basically?
Yeah. Because the thing is, you can the thing about crypto is you can make whatever you want and raise in the most liquid fashion at valuations that are 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times more than you would get in a traditional business. And you just have to put the word crypto in it. Like Rect is a drink made by someone in crypto. They have a token.
And that's it.
Yeah. And it's sort of that. Velo is another one I quite like. Yeah. I don't like it when I scroll that far out, but I like it when I look at this.
It's at a decent level. There's a lot like it. There's a lot of alt, but I don't know. Again, speaking to our mutual friend, he was saying that what you'll find, even if as volume comes back into the alt space, you'll suddenly you'll be in a trade, for example, on an altcoin. There's volume going through the coin, but then the exchanges will en masse just delist it.
Yeah,
for purely shits and giggles, I think so. I don't think we're out of the woods.
100%. No, and the thing is, ultimately, a lot of these things can have a nice, pretty high number today, but you only have to zoom out and see
how far it's got to go.
the sheer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty miserable. Right, on that note, I'm going to
I
have
think
to
this one's
start
interesting. But yeah, I've got to shoot. So thank you very much.
Pleasure as always.
Yeah, I'm on some spaces this week talking crypto.
Well, let me feed
I'm
me
on-
the times, and I'll make sure I join.
I've got Hugo on Friday for a birthday
I was only
stream.
saying
His
the other
my
day.
birthday, not my birthday.
I was only saying the other day. I haven't heard from him in a while, but he's been away, hasn't he? So
yeah, I messaged him the other day. Yeah, he was on last week. We were trading a bit of gold to profitability,
nice.
but yeah, I love everyone and leave them and make some money today.